So you're thinking about making a move to the Eagle, Idaho area, but you're not really sure if it's the perfect place for you or your family. Well, today, as someone who currently lives here in Eagle, I'm going to take you through kind of the ultimate guide of all the pros and the cons that you need to consider when thinking about if this is the right place for you. We're going to get into it right now. What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. My family and I moved to Eagle, Idaho just about a year ago now. We moved just from Meridian, so we chose this suburb over some of the other options here in the area. There are a few reasons why it worked best for us, and I'm going to get into those here in the video. But overall, Eagle just offers something that a lot of the other towns here in the Boise, Idaho area just don't offer. For some context, Eagle is located northwest of Boise, Idaho. It's one of the most popular suburbs, but it's still one of the smaller towns here in the area. It has a population of just around 30,000 people compared to over 200,000 in Boise and over 140,000 in Meridian. It's located just to the north of Meridian and shares a couple of the big roads that we talk about a lot on the channel. Eagle Road runs all the way through. That's kind of a big border between Boise on the east side, Meridian on the west side, and then Eagle up north. Eagle Road runs directly into downtown Eagle, where you're going to find a lot of local restaurants, local boutiques, shopping, all sorts of things. Eagle is also lucky to be located really close to the Boise River and the Greenbelt, which provides access to a lot of outdoor activities, places to go walk your dogs, take your kids on a run, whatever you want to do. And it also allows for some great waterfront opportunities when talking about building your own home. And even with the popularity that Eagle has started to get over the last 5 to 10 years, it is still such a small town that there's still a lot of open space, there's a lot of green space. The city council, the mayor, everybody puts a big emphasis on keeping some of that natural beauty. They don't want it to start to feel too packed in and just overcrowded. And when looking at the real estate side of things, this is really cool because it gives some opportunities for different types of neighborhoods. You're gonna have your classic entry-level subdivisions, you're gonna have some bigger kind of luxury subdivisions, but then you're going to have those waterfront opportunities that I talked about. And then with all of that space, there are still a lot of cool opportunities for acreage and getting some of that space and elbow room from your neighbors. But let's go ahead and dive into some of those pros and cons that I promised you at the beginning of the video. Starting with pro number one on the positive side, and this is a big reason why my wife and I decided to move over here to Eagle, is Eagle, Idaho is one of the best places to raise a family in all of Idaho, but especially here in the Boise, Idaho area. According to niche.com, Eagle was rated the #1 best suburb in the Boise area to raise a family, and there's a few reasons for this. First of which being all of that green space, the open areas, the outdoor activities that I've already mentioned a little bit in the video. Eagle provides a lot of cool opportunities for you and your kids to go out, enjoy the weather, enjoy everything that Idaho has to offer right in your backyard. We're talking about the Greenbelt along the river, a ton of the big town parks. They have a big water park located just outside of downtown Eagle, Stephen Gruber Park. And then you're gonna have Eagle Island State Park located on the west side of Eagle, which is again, a state park. It is home to all sorts of activities during the summer, from horseback riding, you can take your dogs on a walk. They have a big park, playground, zip line, all sorts of stuff. But then in the winter, they actually adapt a ton of it to make this really large tubing hill that people just absolutely love. And of course, you're located on the north end of our Treasure Valley, so you're really close to the foothills, to the mountains. You basically cut 20 minutes off any of your commutes up to Cascade, McCall, Sun Valley, any of the mountain towns. So getting out and actually enjoying, again, everything that Idaho has to offer is really easy from this part of town. On top of that, Eagle, Idaho is also one of the safest places here in the Boise, Idaho area. It has one of the lowest violent crime rates as well as one of the lowest property crime rates in the entire area. And if you want a full breakdown on kind of what's the best, safest area, full breakdown of the stats, everything, go ahead and click this video up. I did a whole deep dive into it. But overall, Eagle is known for being one of the safer places here in the area, which again, draws a lot of families to it. And finally, when we're talking about a great place to raise a family, we can't forget to mention the schools. Here in the Boise, Idaho area, we really have a few different school districts that are kind of sparsed out around town, the biggest of which being West Ada. According to niche.com and a lot of ratings online, Eagle has some of the best and consistently highly ranked schools in the entire Treasure Valley. Now, and if you've listened to any of my videos before, you know exactly what I'm about to say. What makes a good school for certain families versus others is very objective. Things that I'm gonna value are gonna be very different to what you value, what your neighbor values, etc. So do some of your own research, but when we're looking at the rankings to kind of get a head start of, okay, where should we narrow down to? Eagle will shine pretty brightly. And I think one of the best measures for this is I work with clients all over the Treasure Valley, and they have certain school districts that they have gripes about, different concerns. They have other areas that they really like. But one thing that speaks really loudly to me is anybody who ends up in Eagle and has their kids attending schools out here, they are almost never disappointed. Now, there's not gonna be a perfect school, of course, but again, that speaks pretty loudly because public schools, for the most part, aren't gonna be perfect at all. But again, do your own research, but Eagle is a great starting point. Just wanted to hop in here real quick to give you a reminder that I am a licensed realtor up here in the Treasure Valley area. So whether you're making a move in 9 days, 9 months, whatever it is, if there's a way that I can help, I would absolutely love to. So all of my information is down in the description below. Call, text, email, whatever works best for you. If there is one question that I can help answer to move your journey along just a little bit, I would absolutely love to chat. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. That way you are the first to know everything that you need to know about living here in the Boise, Idaho area. Let's get back into it. Now let's jump over to the negative side and talk about the first con of the day. And it has to do a lot with everything that I've already talked about of why I love Eagle and a lot of people are drawn here. But that results in one thing, and that's gonna be higher home prices. Compared to some of the other suburbs around town, Eagle is gonna have the highest home prices by a pretty good margin. When we're looking at the median home price of the entire Treasure Valley, and again, numbers change really quickly, so this could be completely out of date by the time you watch this, but the range here and the actual difference is what I'm really wanting to hone in on. In Boise, you're gonna have the median home price being around the mid 500s. With an entry-level home, you're gonna wanna be around that 350 to 400,000. Transfer over to Meridian, and it's gonna be a little bit cheaper than Boise. You're gonna be closer to 500,000 for that median home price, so about 10% less. And then an entry-level home, you're still gonna wanna be around the mid 300s, but in that price range, you're gonna have a lot more options than you would in Boise. Now let's shoot north into Eagle, where the median home price is gonna be closer to 750 to 800. But I wanna point out that even with that, an entry-level home here in Eagle, you're gonna wanna be around that $400,000 range, which puts it a little bit closer than that median home price. And a big reason for this is those waterfront properties along the river that I talked about and the big acreage opportunities that you have in North Eagle. As our valley has continued to grow over the last few years, we started to see more and more multi-million-dollar opportunities and properties start to pop up. And these are typically gonna be kind of in the foothills of Boise, overlooking, having a killer view, but a big chunk of them happen along the Boise River because, of course, riverfront property, that's about as prime as you can get. Or when you're buying really large pieces of land in a valuable part of town, which Eagle is right at the top of that list. And because of this, every single year, there are multiple $3-4 million homes that are sold, a ton of homes over the million and a half price point. All of those luxury homes are gonna bring that median price point up quite a bit. Whereas in Meridian, the best home on the best lot with a view, you're most likely still gonna be under that $2 million range. So the upper end of that median home price is just not gonna be as extended, which is gonna keep everything a little bit low. But I do wanna make sure that I'm being clear. When we're talking about your budget and how far your money is gonna go, this is a con in Eagle. You are gonna get a heck of a lot more for your buck in Meridian, in Star, in Nampa, other parts of town. So if you're in a price range where you're feeling a little bit constrained by the criteria that the homes are being put in front of you, you're not getting something big enough, new enough, anything along those lines, Eagle most likely isn't going to be a great place for you. But if you are in a budget that allows you to have some options here in the Eagle, Idaho area, there aren't a lot of areas around town that are going to challenge the amenities and just the overall way of living here in Eagle that people really do love. And hopping back over to a quick pro, number 2 on the pro list today is talking about one of those things that people really do love about living here in Eagle, Idaho, and it's the small town atmosphere that it has been able to keep even with this exponential growth that we've been seeing. Starting in downtown Eagle, if you take a drive through, you're gonna notice something really quick, and it's the fact that there aren't a lot of chain restaurants, there aren't a lot of big retail strip malls, anything along those lines. Eagle really takes pride in having a lot of local owned businesses, local owned restaurants, everything about it to kind of keep it, again, that little small town community feel. It also does this with some great community events throughout the year. You're gonna have a harvest festival, the farmers market all the way through the summer. You're gonna have an awesome 4th of July celebration. Eagle Fun Days happens every single year. And all of these events have that small town feel and vibe to them that you just can't get nowadays in certain parts of Boise, Meridian, and as we continue to grow, hopefully we can keep hold of that a little bit. Now, if you're somebody that just always has a craving for Chili's, Outback, some of those big chain restaurants, you're only going to be about 10 to 15, 20 minutes max from any of those opportunities, but you are going to need to travel down Eagle Road closer to the village or even down towards the mall in Boise, which again, when we're talking from a pro perspective, you still have access to everything that you're going to want, but you're going to be separated from it a little bit, which is going to allow some of that growth and traffic and all of those things that you're trying to avoid to stay in some of those bigger towns for now. Now, on the similar thread, let's talk about the second con of the day, and that's going to be the services, the restaurants, and the retail, and where everything's located in Eagle. Like I said, Eagle is growing pretty rapidly as far as new developments, new homes, everything along those lines, and there's a lot of geography and land that Eagle does cover. But with being just around 30,000 people, some of the development for the services and such that you're going to need day to day haven't really been developed quickly enough. And I completely understand that this is in due to part of that small town vibe that they're still trying to hold on to, and it is a balancing game with the two. None of us want to see 4 or 5 fast food restaurants pop up towards Northwest Eagle at all. That's not what anybody's asking for. But as we've had more and more people move to the area, we've started to notice that getting to the post office, getting to doctor's offices, any of the restaurants, grocery shopping, you're either traveling all the way to Meridian, which again, by all the way to Meridian, I'm talking a 10 to 15 minute drive, or you're having to go into downtown Eagle, which because of all of this growth and where everything is kind of centrally located, there's always a ton of traffic and it's kind of hard to get to. A great example, and again, I live over in Homestead here in Northwest Eagle. If my wife and I are on the way home from any errands, doing whatever we're doing outside of the house, and we decide that we have a sweet tooth and we just want to pick something up on the way home, if we pass Eagle Road, Linder, downtown Eagle, we could still be 15 minutes away from home, but all of the opportunities that we have are just gone. There really aren't any commercial services in this entire part of Northwest Eagle that I'm showing you here. And this is a small thing, but hopefully over time, more and more gets developed out here so that it just gives you a little bit more closer proximity to some of those things that you're gonna want. But again, like everything, this con could be a pro to most people as well. They want that separation and they are totally fine traveling that little bit to get there. Overall, I'm a little bit biased. I live here in Eagle, Idaho, and I truly think that it's one of the best places that you and your family can choose to relocate to. But hopefully this gives you a little bit of a picture of some of the things that really make Eagle stand out, but it does have some limitations. So even if you've already decided that you're moving to the Boise, Idaho area, but you're not sure which town that you're gonna be looking at, start to make some comparisons like this and just take each town one step at a time, because once you figure out which area is gonna work best for you, everything gets so much easier. But again, if you have any questions at all about Eagle, about any of the suburbs here in the Treasure Valley, all of my information is down below. Call, text, email, whatever works best for you. If there's a question that I can help answer, I would absolutely love to. But until then, I hope this was helpful and I hope you learned at least one thing, and I'll see you all on the next one.